Welcome to the Voice of Reason Sports Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the show, leave a comment, and click that like button. All right, welcome back. Pelicans fans, man, tough loss last night to the Lakers. I believe the Lakers had us down by like 20, 25 points at one point in the game, and the Pelicans stormed back on the back of Zion Williamson as he put up 40 points and had 11 rebounds until he went out of the game with a hamstring injury with 3 minutes left in the game. So it's not looking good for us. Pelicans play the Kings next, um, and we'll likely play this game without Zion. So it's going to be a tough game for the Pelicans after such a promising start to the season. It looks like it may just fall apart because even Brandon Ingram didn't play well against the Lakers. CJ McCollum didn't play well against the Lakers. So either they're going to have to step up against the Kings or this will be the end of the season for the Pelicans. I hope not. I hope they can put it together against the Kings, but I think Zion has pretty much put a stamp on his team that this is his team. And once this kid gets a jump shot, Pelicans are going to be hard to stop because, like, watching that game, watching how LeBron defended him, he literally backed up like 4 feet from Zion, just to kind of protect himself when Zion drives to the basket. But once Zion adds a jump shot, it's going to be lights out for the rest of the league. It's going to be like when Charles Barkley had got his jump shot back in the day, back in the 90s. It changed the game. He became a MVP type player once he added a jump shot to his repertoire. But right now, not looking good for the Pelicans. Um, but kudos to the Lakers. The Lakers moved to the 7th seed after being like the 10th seed. They made a good run towards the end of the season, and they just seem to have the Pelicans' number, which is unbelievable. I think they've like beaten the Pelicans by double digits for the past couple of, I don't remember how many games it was, but it's multiple games they've beaten the Pelicans. And matter of fact, they beat the Pelicans by, I believe it was 50 points during the in-season tournament game. So they've had the Pelicans number. So hopefully the Pelicans get this win against the Kings in New Orleans on Friday. But speaking of the Kings have taken out the Warriors. The Warriors are done. Um, Klay Thompson was 0 for 10, 0 for 6 from 3, 0 points. Wow. Yeah, not good for the Warriors. They got a lot of questions, a lot of stuff they got to work on this offseason. Um, they got to add some talent around Steph. Klay Thompson's got to get back in the gym. He's got to get better. Uh, I don't know what you do with Draymond. Um, I don't know. I mean, do you keep the big three and just add some talent around them, or do you just scrap it and start from scratch? I don't know. I think their big three, um, is still formidable. I think they still sell tickets too. That's important. Um, I think you should try to get better pieces around him. I don't think Wiggins is that guy. I don't think he adds much to that team. Um, Gary Payton II. I don't know if he adds much to that team. So they got to start looking to get some better talent around Steph, Clay, and Draymond. But yeah, this is a disappointing season for the Warriors. They go down to the Kings. The Kings are a young up and coming team. So it's going to be an interesting battle against the Pelicans, a wounded Pelicans team, a team that does not have Zion, a team where Brandon Ingram is coming off of a knee injury and he just did not look right against the Lakers. So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens in this game against the Kings. Lucky for the Pelicans, this game is in New Orleans. Hopefully, the fans there in New Orleans give the Pelicans a boost, give some of those bench players a boost, and hopefully they can get the win against the Kings. So we'll see Kings Pelicans in New Orleans on Friday. and for the fight for the 8th seed. But let's get to it now. WNBA draft. Now I have to be honest. I may have seen one WNBA draft, and they since the existence of this league, which was like the mid '90s or so when it came out, so maybe early '90s. But I do remember the Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper. I remember those players, but I hadn't watched much of the WNBA, let alone the draft. I may have seen one, but this year's WNBA draft drew the biggest crowd, the biggest viewing audience ever, right? And blew out the previous high, which was 600,000 when Deanna Taurasi was drafted in 2004. And that was a big number for this league. And with Caitlin Clark, Camila Cardoza, Angel Reese, some big stars in this particular draft, they drew in 2.45 million viewers. That's huge. That is a good draft. That's a good viewing number for the WNBA. So they should be excited about this. I keep saying, WNBA, this is your chance. You got a star-studded draft. You have an opportunity. Don't mess this up. Get those ladies, put them on billboards all over the cities that they were drafted in. Sell it. Get them out in the public, signing some basketballs. Don't just sign them for little girls. Sign them for little boys. That's plenty of fans and money to go around. This can work. Make it work, WNBA. So that was a good thing for the WNBA. I was happy for the WNBA. Also happy for the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark goes #1 to the Indiana Fever. Interesting enough, the Chicago Sky, I got to get used to these names. The Chicago Sky drafted Camila Cardoza, and they also take Angel Reese in the first round. So they got Twin Towers in Chicago. So that should be interesting to see. One of the funny things that, I've been seeing on social media is this discussion of WNBA players' salaries compared to NBA players' salaries. Like, really? I mean, why are people confused as to why the WNBA players' salaries are lower than the NBA players' salaries? It's obvious. I don't know. It's surprising to me that people have to ask this question. Like, there's nothing confusing about it. Like, well, how is this possible? Easy. Look at the people that show up the game, or better yet, look at the people that's not showing up to the game. Look at the attendance. Look at the viewership. That should answer your question, right? Caitlin Clark's rookie year salary is going to be $76,000, right? An NBA player's rookie salary, I think it's $5 million for the first overall pick. It probably more than that's probably like $20 million, but it's way more, and it should be. There's nothing confusing about this. I don't understand what it is people don't understand, and I'm seeing these posts all over social media. How could this be? Caitlin Clark is a big star. How could this guy who hardly does anything in the NBA make way more than she does? Well, here's the numbers. NBA annual revenue, right? This is the revenue that the NBA makes from ticket sales, sponsorships, luxury boxes. 10.6 billion. That's what it be. Yes, you heard me correctly. 10.6 billion. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the NFL makes, because I think it quadruples what the NBA makes. So NBA, 10.6 billion. Totally respectable number. Actually, really good number, right? And keep in mind that TNT has the TV deal with the NBA just as well as ESPN. So the NBA is doing very well. Now we're going to compare it to the WNBA, and this will explain to you why Caitlin Clark is getting paid $76,000 her first season in the WNBA. WNBA annual revenue, 200 million. Yes, million with an M, compared to 10.6 billion. Yeah, there's no comparison. This is the salary disparity. It's not just because the WNBA just doesn't like Caitlin Clark or don't respect women. No, it's just they don't make that much money. There aren't that many people watching. There aren't that many sponsors. There aren't that many people going to the games, right? If you're so disgusted about the difference in salary, go watch the games. Buy a ticket. Watch it on TV. That's how you would help. Okay? So don't complain. If don't complain if you're not watching it. Okay? So but I think the WNBA has an opportunity here. The opportunity is to capitalize on these young women that's coming in that have a following that's coming along with them from college. That's how the NBA did it. Like I have to remind people, before the 1980s, before I think it was 1979 when Magic Johnson was drafted and went to the Lakers and won the championship game. The NBA finals was on tape delay, right? You didn't watch it live. It was on tape delay. Yeah, because they didn't have a big following. They didn't have a big viewing audience. Even with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the league, even with Wilt Chamberlain, I think this was after he retired, but he was a big superstar in the 60s, in the early 70s and stuff like that. Even with these guys and these big household names, the NBA Finals was on tape delay. I think they called it the NBA Championship at that time, but it was on tape delay. It wasn't that big. And it took two big names leaving college that had a big following that happened while they were in college when Indiana State played Michigan State in the Final Four championship game with a young man by the name of Irvin Magic Johnson versus another young man from Indiana State named Larry Bird. And when those two met up in that championship game, it drew in a big crowd. Now, there's a lot to it, right? I don't want to just simply say it was just the talent that drew people in. That's part of it. But let's be honest, it was race, right? You had the white guy and Larry Bird, Indiana State, and you had the black guy with Magic Johnson for Michigan State going against each other. But that's great. That's good for basketball. That makes for great drama and great entertainment, just like we saw in women's NCAA basketball, right? Great drama, great entertainment. That's what you watch the game for. I love it when I talk to people that tell me they love women's basketball more than men's basketball. It just seems more fundamentally sound. I call BS on that because you ain't watching. All you people out there that say it's just more fundamentally sound, you don't even watch it. So let's just be honest. We watch these games to be entertained. This is entertainment, okay? The purity of the game and all that, they're getting paid for it. Their job is to entertain us. I see them the same way that I see, I don't know, Beyonce or Taylor Swift or like the biggest name actor out there. I can't say Will Smith anymore. But whoever the big name actor out there that's getting all the big Hollywood movies and the $20 million salaries for doing these movies. That's what these athletes are. They are entertainers, and they're doing a great job of it, right? And now we have that side of it on the women's side. And I think this is just great for basketball. This builds up all of basketball. If you think about it, basketball is played at a high level and it draws in a big viewing audience in college and in the pros, just like it does with football, right? Now you add the women's game, and if that draws in some respectable numbers, this would be great for the game. That's just more people to it. But still in all, you need the star power. And the WNBA has that now. They got the star power. This is their opportunity to capitalize on it. You can do just what the NBA did back in the late 70s and early 80s when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird came into the league. And it's interesting about when they came into the league that a lot of people don't know. The Celtics drafted Larry Bird while he was still in college. at Indiana State. It was slick. It was slick. The Celtics drafted him, got him there. They knew he was a superstar, right? The Lakers ended up getting Magic Johnson, right? They already had James Worthy and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm sorry. No, they already had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. James wasn't there. But how does that happen? How did a team that made it to the Western Conference Finals get the number one overall pick? But they knew they had superstars on their teams. And this propelled the league until what you see now. That was the start of it. Those two. And then Michael Jordan followed. And then all the other athletes that followed that looked up to Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan, and helped build the league into what we see this day. That can happen for the WNBA. And so I look forward to seeing what happens. I'll be watching. I'll be watching. You know, I mean, it's going to be the summer. And yeah, I won't have too much to do. I think the NBA playoffs will be done by the time the WNBA starts, or maybe it has started by then. But still, no, I got to look it up. I don't even know when WNBA started. That tells you I hadn't been watching. But I'll be paying attention. And if there's some action, some entertainment that draws me in, then I'll be watching. So great opportunity. Great opportunity. This has been a great month for basketball, and I look forward to it getting even better with the NBA playoffs getting into full swing. Right? Hopefully my Pelicans will be in there to play along with this. But you know, and I must admit, I know I've been a big critic of the NBA play-in game, but man, that Pelicans Lakers game, that was exciting. Man, I was into it. And that could be just because I'm a Pelicans fan. So there was a couple of moments in the game where it was getting intense. Zion was getting fired up. He took over. Jose Alvarez did his part. He because CJ McCollum wasn't playing well, so Alvarez took over. It was just a great night of basketball in New Orleans until Zion got hurt. So hopefully they're able to make it playoffs. Hopefully Zion will come back and play because it'll be an exciting NBA playoffs this year. A lot of storylines, a lot of great players. So, man, I'm looking forward to that. But on top of that, right, for the month of April 25th, NFL draft. Although Dell's not here today, we talked a lot about the NBA draft, NFL draft. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Who the Bears will take. I think it's clear cut, but Dell seems to think that, there's still some chance that somebody might leapfrog Caleb Williams. I don't see that happening. He is the consensus number one overall pick. I think, you just got to take him. You can't go against the scouts. Just get the dude, see what happens. But it'll be interesting to see. I look forward to it. Dell should be back next week. We'll get into some more debates talking about this stuff, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Thanks for joining us again. We do this thing every week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.